I work as the CIO of Mistry right now for Europe, and I'm not very sure if I've been almost so brand. But we are into sort of in health and hygiene, including water purifiers, of course, household, but we're also into vacuum cleaners and what we call as health conditioning, which is air conditioning equipment in a house with cleaning. So effectively, within a couple of minutes after switching on the air conditioners, it becomes almost like you're within your room. And of course, we are into B2B services also for companies, daily services, and our new product, which is Corona Guard, which basically utilizes, I would say, the features of sunlight, okay, to incubate. I would say not incubate, but surround the virus and eliminate its veracity, including coronavirus. So, because that's under FDA approval and everything is still going on. But that's what we do in Europe as well. So I think our digital journey has been, I think we started in 2018 more and more because we have a very large workforce and a service force which is on the feet on the street. And the pandemic, I would say, initiated another round of digital innovations, including the fact that there was no correlationship between the pandemic and water, but people have become much more conscious about the water itself, what they treat in the house. So we found, I would say, quite a big upside during the pandemic. And we were able to sustain through because there were issues about how do we work with people and everything. But I think all of these things have initiated the digital transformation, which I thought would take 5 years. Actually, it was 5 months.
Awesome.
So it was, I would say, a blessing that I started utilizing AI. I think a couple of things which we do here at the folks. And one of the things is the intelligent voice bots for WhatsApp right now. I think we didn't realize that WhatsApp was such a large base of user base in this country. And when we opened up that channel, we had to actually increase our number of call center seats. Okay, because it actually went from, so instead of calling the call center, when you do the WhatsApp, the bot answers. With learning with the AI engines learning over the last 6 months, we've actually found that more customers are using it in a better manner because you can start a conversation, stop it, and start the same conversation again. And that was a learning which we had and which was quite, I would say, we were surprised with the amount of people utilizing WhatsApp in this country because it allows you also to talk in the language which you want. And the bot is still learning because it is, but again, the problem is what are the punchline words? Because when the customer connects with you, they utilize certain linguistic associations. So they may say, okay, I want you to service this thing, but also can you tell me about your other product? Okay, and this is where we are still struggling, I would say. I will not say that we are there at all. To understand that the customer wants 2 things, not just one. And identifying those particular, I would say, phrase spotting, okay, which I think we are still struggling with. And we're trying to see how we can utilize things like neural networks and everything to try and sort that out. So that's one part. The second part is we are utilizing this now, the AI ML engines, in order to understand the propensity of a person to buy an annual maintenance contract. And I think this is where the largest part of the pie lies. Because I can say that now it's more or less public information, but we have about 2 crore customer base in this country. Our service agents basically go into a kitchen almost every second of the day. So that's the level of which they go into. So half of this space, we know that there is an AMC. The other half have bought our product but moved away to some other operator.
So some third-party local.
Some third-party operator, and I think that's where we are utilizing, the manufacturing, the chip-based technology in order to ensure that it's genuine products are being, spare parts are being sold, and that is a significant issue right now also in this country. But I think we are utilizing the AI engines just to understand the predictability or the propensity of a person to buy. Okay. Successful, I would say, between 30 and 40% right now. Okay, it is still, because again, it's the data. Okay. And so the person who buys the product is not actually the person who calls you for the service. Okay, or the person who's actually, because of the proliferation of mobile in this country is so large that a household could be only of 2 people, but there could be a third person calling you for that household to get a service done, right? So we have, we were quite amazed in certain situations where we found the maid of the house was actually calling the shots or when the service should be done, not the owners of the house sort of thing. So all of these things, I think the data, the learning part of it, and how do you utilize machine learning and AI. We started this process. Because we utilize, we are on Azure, Microsoft, so we utilize their product range, the data warehousing and everything. But it's still a question of how do we ensure that the data which is coming in, which we have, plus the social engineering, which we do, because people can call it, people can send a WhatsApp, people can send an SMS, people can send an email. Okay, we have Instagram right now getting more and more utilized higher and higher. And there could be somebody who walks into one of our sites and says, I want to do this. How do you correlate all of the data? Is still a very, very big question which we have. Because the amount of data which we collect. And fortunately or unfortunately, this is considered PII data. So when the IDPA rule comes in, the regulations, how do you protect the data?
That's true.
All right, because all of this data is available on the mobile and the front end. So we're trying to see how basically we can restrict this data also. So we are happy to work. In fact, I'm happy to hear Professor say, talk about this. We want to work with anybody who is able to provide us modeling on how to utilize this data. Because we find people having data knowledge is one of the biggest challenges in this country. We're just not able to find it. Or we may find the person, and as you said, 3 months later they're outdated.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the biggest problems which we have. So now we're literally utilizing analytics as a service. So we don't go with the one person, we go with a company and say, this is your job. You aren't in it all the time, so you utilize it. And this is how we are trying to utilize AI and ML. We're quite successful in certain parts. We want to bring in voice bots now, complete voice bots. But again, the challenges are, how do you ensure that when the AI engine kicks in and starts learning, it's learning the right things? It should not be like what Microsoft did in the US when they started the bot. 1 day later they shut it down because the bot learned that Donald Trump was an idiot, right? Okay, and it was quite annoying to find out that the bot was learning the wrong things, okay, and repeating that to the customer.
Or the right things at the wrong time.
Right, that I leave it to the judgment.
That's very interesting. But you said, I just want to touch on one point. Analytics as a service. Are there enough partners in India that you're getting for that?
Not very many.
Yeah,
okay. We have started to utilize a company who's providing the basis, because we have to keep turning the customer data and making it refreshed. That means, as I said, initially when the mobiles came in, we actually limited it ourselves by saying if you buy a product, it should be linked to a mobile. All of a sudden, we found five products being bought. You can't link it to that mobile. So they created dummy mobiles in the system.
Okay.
Right? Now the problem is, how do you take all that crap data? Customer is right, but the mobiles are wrong because all of them have 8888. So we are utilizing social engineering methodology to enrich the customer data, just to understand that this is the right customer we are talking to, and the probabilities are getting utilized in order to ensure and make a family tree of each individual customer. Of course, my plan is even to make a custom tree of our equipment. We want to understand the life cycle value of that equipment.
Okay. Wow. No, that's very leading edge. Very nice.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Pleasure.